I call to order the October 26, 2021 Historic Preservation Board meeting. Before we begin the meeting, we'd like to state that the matters before the public are quasi-judicial in nature. The decisions of the board are made from competent, substantial evidence that comes before us. For each case, after the applicant presents their case, staff will provide a presentation, and then the public will have an opportunity to speak or have their comments read into the record from a previously received correspondence. The applicant can make a 10-minute presentation for regular cases or take 15 minutes for a proposed demolition. After staff's presentation, the board will open up the floor for public comment, which is restricted to 3 minutes per speaker. The applicant may have a short rebuttal after the public speaks. The board will then go into executive session. Prior to rendering a decision, the board will confirm no additional public comments have been received by staff. Members of the board need to disclose if they have discussed the cases with anyone prior to tonight's meeting. May we start with ex parte communication from the board?
The roll call first, or doesn't matter?
Amanda Schuyler. Let the record reflect that Amanda Schuyler is not present. Kristen Kellogg.
Here.
Dan Pickney.
Here.
Gabriel Jaslowski.
Here.
Ken Breslauer.
Here.
Reginald Stanball.
Here.
Keith Williams.
Here.
Donna Tomaszewski.
Here.
I have had no ex parte communications.
I've had ex parte communication on case number 21-85-3119 Spruce Avenue with the applicant and owner. They advocated for their project and gave me some history and background as they've been in front of the board before with this. So,
Gabe Jaroslavsky. I was contacted by the applicants of cases 21-84 and 21-85, but I didn't have any type of communication with them after that.
Kristen Kellogg, I spoke with Ms. Mittner regarding the cases before us this evening, but can make my decision based on the evidence presented.
Daniel Pickney, no ex parte communications.
Ken Breslauer, no ex parte communication.
Reginald Stanball, no ex parte communications.
Thank you. Do we have anyone from the public here to speak on anything that is not involving a case before us tonight?
Madam Chair, can we approve the minutes? And the agenda.
Do we need both September and August?
I think August was just provided for reference that Ms. White fixed the corrections that were noted by the board previously, and then we just need a vote on the September minutes.
Okay. Is the agenda for, does anyone have a motion for the agenda for tonight's meeting to be approved?
I have no changes.
Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I move the board to approve tonight's agenda.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those against? All right. And if anyone's had a chance to read the minutes and has changes for the minutes? Seeing none, can we get a motion to approve the September 28th, 2021 meeting minutes?
Motion to approve?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? And now for the report of the preservation planner.
Good evening, Frederique Mettner, City Historic Preservation Planner. I'm very excited to introduce you all to Ann Hamilton. She joins the staff just outside of Chicago and has already been tackling a lot of permits, which makes many of our residents happy that they're being processed quickly. And she's jumping right in with possibly new historic district designations of Sunshine Park. So We're excited to have her. The other update I wanted to share with the board, or a reminder actually, is that our next meeting is going to be held on Wednesday, November 17th. So again, that's a little off our typical schedule because of the holidays, Wednesday, November 17th. And since the board met last time, staff has reviewed 142 level 1 applications, 2 level 2s, and completed 13 zoning reviews. And those are all my updates.
As we have already had ex parte, may we have the swearing in of speakers? Anyone who believes they will speak on a case before us this evening, please stand up so you can be sworn in.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We have several cases on the consent agenda. Does anyone have a motion for those consent cases?
I move the board to approve consent cases, case number 17-75C in 509 38th Street, and case number 21-81, 744 Sunset Road.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? The motion passes. All right. The next case is case number 21-82. May the applicant come up front, please?
My name is Denise Cravey with LCA Architecture. For this project, we are proposing both current and future phasing of work to an existing 2-story home. Phase 1 includes a second-story addition over the single-story garage structure. This phase also includes converting the existing flat roof to a hip-style roof and balancing out the front elevation windows to obtain a more symmetrical look. Future phases include a covered entry feature and a rear covered patio. The architectural style is Colonial Revival, which is compatible with the homes in the Prospect Southland Park Historic District. Thank you.
Does that complete your presentation?
Yes, it does.
Do we have a staff report? Does anyone have questions at this time for the applicant for the staff report?
Good evening, Frederique Mittner, presenting case 21-82 for an ad valorem pre-construction application at 345 Marlborough Place. It is quite a unique lot, as you can see. It actually has 3 frontages tucked away in Prospect Park / Southland Park. This is the existing property, and the main focus is this 1-story portion here. One of the unique aspects is this cantilevered second floor, and the applicant is requesting a second floor addition, a roof modification, window modifications, and then future plans. And initially, when staff received the application, we thought it was quite extensive modification to a contributing home, but research that both the applicant has done and photographs that we have show that it is listed as a hip roof. We can see here in pictures that we believe were dated from 1990 and a little after, that there is no door surround. It wasn't certainly a later addition. The railing that's on there now wasn't even there before. So this house has had many modifications over time. What the applicant is proposing is to add a second floor addition over the 1-story that again was not original to the house. Make some window modifications and add a covered entry over the front and a patio, so at the back. So they are keeping the asymmetrical entry feature of the front door, but they are adding paired windows up here, the second floor here, a pitch of a roof, and then additions in the back. So again, even though this seems extensive, they are retaining all the wood siding. The colonial revival style is remaining, and because we have found evidence that it has been modified extensively over time, staff is recommending approval and still believes it meets Secretary Interior Standards number 9 and 10.
Any questions for staff from the board? Any questions for the applicant?
No?
Okay, seeing none. Do we have anyone from the public here to speak on this case? We will go into executive session. Do we need any discussion, or is someone ready to make a
I think
motion?
that is a pretty straightforward case.
Absolutely.
Okay, I move that the Historic Preservation Board approve application number 21-82 for alterations, additions, ad valorem tax exemption in accordance with standards set forth in section 94-49 of the city's zoning and land development regulations. This motion is based on testimony presented along with the application submitted in the staff report, which constitute competent, substantial evidence.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? The motion passes for case number 21-82. The next case we have before us is case number 21-84, 115 Westminster Road. Will the applicant please come present?
Maybe we can move it later to the agenda if he doesn't find the presenter.
Okay.
Maybe give
Do we
him
need
just
a
1 minute.
motion for that? Okay. Can we move to the next case without a motion, and we'll come back to that one?
I think if you make a motion.
Okay. Can we have a motion to, oh,
I move the board to move this case to the last one in the night, in the meeting.
do we have a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? The motion passes. Thank you. So we will proceed now to case number 21-85, 3119 Spruce Avenue. Will the applicant please come up for the presentation?
Thank you very much. These glasses are giving me trouble today. All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Yulia Darabent, and I'm here with my husband, Andrew Mina, and my daughter, Maxine, to support the staff's recommendation for case 2185, 3119 Spruce Avenue in Old Northwood. First and foremost, we would like to thank the board members and the staff for your patience and dedication over the years. We know you have reviewed this particular property on several occasions, and we understand it must be disheartening and sometimes frustrating to go through this process with multiple owners without the reward of progress. We recognize that you are ultimately as invested in it as we are. Last but not least, I would like to thank our wonderful Old Northwood community for their support and patience. Many of our neighbors have followed our journey and have offered their advice, their contacts, their connections, as well as their encouragement to keep on going and try our best to deal with the situation we were in. Frederic has outlined the reasons in the staff report for approval, and in order not to reiterate and save everybody time, I will try to make this very quick. I also have a few slides to highlight the current condition of the property and to give you a sense of what we're dealing with. As you can see, it is in quite a state of disrepair, and it has been so for quite some time. What we have dealt with over the 3 years is really trying to restore this property. And we have done everything possible to figure out a way to do so. And after talking to numerous experts, structural engineers, as well as developers, builders, really the conclusion is that this house cannot be restored. And so the one thing we would like to really stress is that the plans that we brought before you tonight are really the same plans and architectural design that has been approved by this board in October of 2018. Over the 3 years, we just tried to actually do what we said we would try to do, but have been unsuccessful to do so. So with that said, really we are left with no other option than to ask this board to let us demolish the current structure and build a like structure that is in keeping with the architectural style and honors the history of this house as well as the neighborhood. These are a few pictures of the design we are proposing. As you can see, they are something that you probably feel like it looks familiar. The house continues to contain the architectural structure and aspects that have been outlined by the staff. The columns in the front, the round arched windows at the bottom, and the square windows at the top. I'll just take a few moments to scroll through these. And last but not least, in this process of trying to restore this house, we have met many of our neighbors. We also encountered many hardships. We had to take another mortgage in to be able to live somewhere. We currently live in the neighborhood, also in a historic house that did not need the repairs that this one does. And we got to meet a lot of our wonderful neighbors that are here in support today. What I wanted to point out is just some of the things that we've been able to do to highlight the support from the neighborhood. We've collected 118 signatures from homeowners in Northwood. We've also received a letter of support from our neighborhood association. And if we look at the 500 feet radius that has received the notice for today's meeting, this is what it looks like with the neighborhood support. So, as I promised, I'm trying to keep it quite short because I do believe the engineering reports speak for themselves, but please let me know if you have any questions for us.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions for the applicant at this time?
Yes, you know that staff recommended 5 conditions of approval.
Yes.
So do you agree with the conditions?
Yes, we absolutely agree with those conditions. We will try to, so we'll evaluate all the material in the house as we proceed to demolish, and anything that is salvageable will be incorporated in the new build. Specifically, the chimney bricks, any wood that's salvageable, we are going to evaluate it for termite damage and rot, which, as you can imagine, there's plenty of that, but we're happy to do that. And also the window details that are mentioned by the staff, the setbacks that are per the new code. And I think there's one more. Yes, the 3 parking spots. Those were already included in the plan. And if I actually go back to the picture, here you'll notice there is 1 on 31st Street, and there will be 2 in the garage in the proposed addition.
Thank you.
Additional questions by the board?
When was the last time you presented this project?
October 2018, so 3 years ago.
No wonder half the neighborhood's here.
Everybody is very, very eager to see this restored.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Frederique Mittner, presenting case 21-85, a request for demolition and new construction at 3119 Spruce Avenue. You just heard a little bit about the history of the house, and just to get the orientation, it is on the southwest corner of Spruce Avenue, 31st Street in Old Northwood, which is on both the local and national register. This house was built in 1922 by C.J. Travail. This is an image just taken yesterday of the condition of the house. It has been boarded, as you can see from the inside, and vacant for, as the applicant mentioned, for over 3 years. And the request is to demolish the structure on site. There's currently just one structure. This is the site plan of what's there, the structure, the 2-story home, and the pool. And the request is to build back very similar to what the board saw with proposed rehab and addition. So it would be still the 2-story structure with a 2-story addition, both over the sunroom and this western wing, as well as a detached 2-car garage with a living space above that would be accessed off the alleyway to the south. The floor plans, first and second floor, again, second floor does expand both directions now. The proposed elevations, replicating a lot of the details, as the applicant already mentioned, arched windows on the ground floor, square on the second. The other elevations and the elevations for the garage. These are some renderings. Obviously, you just saw some updated ones. These were provided in the packet. Staff reviewed the criteria for demolition, and even though we are concerned about the fact that it is a contributing structure in the Old Northwood Historic District, the applicant has submitted evidence that they are not able to repair and reuse it. We also recognize that historic preservation is very much done at a local level, and Old Northwood being the historic district, actually the first historic district, local district in West Palm Beach, you see the support of this request here by the audience and the actual neighborhood association. So based on the evidence provided by the applicant, staff it's unfortunate, but we are recommending demolition. We think that is the most expedient path forward here. And then for new construction, we reviewed the compatibility criteria in our zoning and land development regulations, as well as Secretary of Interior Standards 9 and 10, even though it's not really rehabilitation, it's more reconstruction, but these are what's codified in our land development regulations, and it is very comparable to what you did see before. There were those 5 conditions that the applicant has agreed to, and I'll just read them into the record. So we are recommending approval of new construction as well, with the conditions that the bricks from the chimney shall be salvaged and reused in reconstruction of the chimney. All usable wood on site, including structural pieces, shall be salvaged and reused during reconstruction. All windows shall have a multi-light dimensional OG Muntin pattern, and that all setbacks shall be met, including 15 feet off Spruce and the alley, and 25 feet off 31st Street. That's because, again, under the building code, it'll be considered new construction and will need to meet today's setbacks. And then 3 off-street parking spaces shall be provided, which, as the applicant stated, are included. So we are recommending approval with those 5 conditions. And I know the board secretary has a lot of public input, has received public input, and of course, in the audience.
Questions of staff?
Ms. Mittner?
Yes.
As you're aware, in the past year, we've had a lot of oops moments where, despite the best intentions of at least some of the applicants, original material has been inadvertently disposed of. And I just wanted to know whether there is a process whereby we can actually know that material that has been put aside is actually used. Again, it could be an accident where a construction person just inadvertently throws something out. Is there a step-by-step inspection process whereby, somebody sees that the material has been put aside and then comes back later to see that the material is actually being used? And if material that has been set aside can't be used, that they notify you before making any further decisions?
Well, the applicant has been great about communicating with staff throughout these 3 years. So I feel confident that we can continue to work together in terms of when demo will happen and just, working with the contractor to demonstrate that it's being reused.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Any other questions of the board? Okay, seeing none, may we please have read into record the correspondence you have received up to this point?
First one comes from Kate McMahon. Dear HPB Board, we live at Northwood and own a home on 30th Street. We're strongly in support of the application to demolish the building and engage in new construction at 3119 Spruce Avenue. HPB case number 21-85. We think that this will benefit the neighborhood and it will be great to see the property occupied. Next, David Wood Kennard and Alberto Aldolfo Arias. This is to provide enthusiastic support for the requested certificate of appropriateness request by the Durban family to demolish the existing structure at 3119 Spruce Avenue and reconstruct a similar dwelling. As I am now considered a longtime resident, I have looked at the sad slum house called 3119 Spruce Avenue for over 20 years. As my husband, Alberto Arias, and I are now one of the largest owners of contiguous property in Old Northwood, owning 444, 432, 428 30th Street, it is our hope that the City of West Palm Beach will support true residential improvement and agree to the request by the Durban family. They have already proved to be a part of the neighborhood by purchasing an additional home in Old Northwood to wait out this process. As a neighbor who has invested in well over $1 million in our properties, as guided and directed by Ms. Mittner, we are proud to call Old Northwood home and fully support local investment in our great city. Please support this effort to bring back families into our neighborhoods and take action to stop remote institutional investment in our homes. Next comes from Anthony Marola, President, Old Northwood Homeowners Association. Good morning, and I hope this email finds everyone well. Please accept the attached letter of support that is officially coming from the Old Northwood Board of Directors in support of 3119 Spruce Avenue. We as a board, as well as many neighbors, will be in attendance for the hearing on Tuesday, October 26th, but would like to have this letter of support entered into the record. And there's a letter of support attached. Next come from Louise Stoney. I support demolition of this building to make way for a new home that is in keeping with the neighborhood. The current home is an unsafe eyesore that denigrates historic neighborhood. Next comes from George Southern. I have been an active resident of Old Northwood for more than 6 years. The subject house has been a blight in the community all of that time. I fully support the request to remove it and to replace it with a similar structure that will look so much better. I am very grateful that the owners of the property want to improve it and are working so hard to accomplish that. I earnestly ask that the board approve this request. Next is a voicemail. This is a call in support of the demolition going to be discussed today at the city commissioners meeting. Just telephone number 561-267-3771. The next is Matthew Curley. Please allow the demolition of 3119 Spruce. It is an eyesore and has been for years. The rendition of the new construction is beautiful and will fit in perfectly to the historic district. We received a text message from Laura Marola. Good morning. Please accept this communication as my enthusiastic support of one of your agenda items for the meeting being conducted this evening at 5 p.m. The case number is 21-85. I only wish I could attend in person. However, I'm recovering from a recent surgical procedure. Lulia and Andrew are wonderful neighbors and have already been instrumental in helping to beautify this neighborhood. I am more than confident that if given the opportunity, their renovation will be a new jewel in Old Northwood. This property on a very prominent corner of one in its current state is an eyesore and an invitation for squatters to trespass. Please provide approval. Lily and Andrew are requesting to return this corner property to the splendor it once was. Next comment comes from Joy Graham. I support the plans that the owners have submitted for renovation. The new construction is true of the character on ONW. The previous structure is not habitable and should be torn down. The next is from, it's just an email, full support for replacing existing home with new construction, Tom Pole. The next is a lengthy letter from Ted Simmons.
Ms. White, are all the letters you received in support?
Google voicemail from 561-255-1307. Hello, I understand. This is the number to call to leave an approval or disapproval of an upcoming history building proposition. The case number is 21-85, who after 3 years of trying to rehabilitate the building and finding it's just impossible to be able to bring the building and build a new structure similar to the old. My name is Marilyn Taylor. Next one comes from Thomas Strasser. Hello, this email is to let you know that I'm fully supporting the demolition and rebuild of the home at 3119 Spruce. The current home is an eyesore to our neighborhood, and the new design will add value to the entire neighborhood.
Madam Chair, I think they are all in support. Is everything we received in support?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I think that we get the message. So thank you. And we also have 10 flyers here for public comment. In the interest of time and taking our cues, it seems like the community feels a very particular way. So we're just going to, if you filled out one of these 10 comment cards, if you could just stand up if you're in support of the project. Okay. Thank you. You can sit down now. And thank you for being here to be involved in historic preservation in our community. And if you are here and have filled out a comment card and are not in support of the project, will you stand up? Oh, okay. Seeing none, I think from the board that suffices for us. We understand the widespread support of this project. Okay. Thank you. All right. I think we are ready for a vote or executive session. Okay, we'll go into executive session now. Any further discussion?
I would be ready to make a motion if everyone else is ready for that.
Please.
So it's two motions, correct? Demolition and then There's no ad valorem attached to this?
Correct.
Okay. All right. I move that Historic Preservation Board approve application number 21-85 for demolition in accordance with the demolition guidelines as set forth in the Historic Preservation Ordinance, Section 9449 of the City Zoning and Land Development Regulations. The motion is based on testimony presented along with the application submitted and the staff report, which constitutes competent substantial evidence.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against?
So now I'm
Motion
doing new
passes.
construction, right? Okay. I move that the Historic Preservation Board approve application number 2185 for new construction in accordance with the Secretary of Interior standards for rehabilitation, specifically standards 9 through 10, as well as the additional compatibility criteria set forth in the Historic Preservation Ordinance, Section 94-49 of the City Zoning and Land Development Regulations. The motion is based on testimony presented along with the application submitted and the staff report, which constitutes competent substantial evidence. And with this, do I read the 5 conditions? Yes. Okay. So, yeah, I got it. Oh, thank you. If conditions are. In addition, the approval of this request is made conditional upon the following restrictions, stipulations, and/or safeguards that I move are necessary to ensure compliance with the purpose and intent of the Historic Preservation Ordinance, the historic preservation element of comprehensive plan of the City of West Palm Beach, the Secretary of State Interior Standards of Rehabilitation Standards 9 through 10, which states, and then I read each of these, right? That the bricks from the chimney shall be salvaged and reused and reconstructed of the chimney. All usable wood on site, including structured pieces, shall be salvaged and reused during reconstruction. All windows should have multi-light dimensional OG mutton pattern. All setbacks shall be met, including 15 feet off Spruce and the alleyway of 25 feet off 31st Street. 3 off-street parking spaces shall be provided.
Do we have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? All right. Congratulations, case number. Case number 21-85, you are approved. Good job. Thank you. All right, and now we are going back to, let's see here. Case number 21-84, 115 Westminster Road. If the applicant will please come up for their presentation.
Yours is a little different. It's on the same page? Oh, I see. Okay. That's for the, all right. I've overlooked this one. Got it. I went to the first. Oh, is she not allowed to have ad valorem because they're demolishing the house? Yeah.
You raise your right hand to be sworn in, please.
What was that?
Stepped out when we were doing the swearing in, so the board secretary will just swear you in. You just need to raise your right hand. Right hand.
Other right. You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Only if you're comfortable, you're welcome to the next spot.
Hi, good evening. For the record, my name is Polly Daughtry with Paradello Burgess Design Studio. We are here to request to do an addition. So as you can see on the screen, we have an existing residence, which is on the left in the 3D model. The images of that existing residence are on the right. And then our addition is a one-story addition, which is on your right. So part of this process, it was really important for us to really look into the history, and especially with working with Frederique, she started to bring up characteristics of the architecture and different design suggestions. So we started to really look into the history. And I'm sure you've had most of these houses in front of your board. So the houses are from 1922. It was registered in 2011 as a historic, for the Register of Historic Places. There's a mix of architectural styles, which there's a few examples below. One is like the first one, frame vernacular. As we go down to the bottom, the third one on the bottom is an American four-square from 1926. So most of the homes in the area are small to large family dwellings, and they're from 1 to 3 stories. So the reason I mentioned the four-square was this is the GIS from the city. Our home is shown as an American four-square. So this property has adjacent contributing properties, residences, and this property in particular has 2 structures on it that are contributing. It shows up here that it's 1938. Frederique's report shows it's 1921, so between the 20s and 30s, and it is American Foursquare. So a little bit about the history. So this style was a reaction to the Victorian era, which was over embellished. It had a lot of detailing in the Victorian, so they were trying to pull that back with more of a plain style, but they wanted to keep that craftsman style. So as you can see in like the example of the American Foursquare below from 1926, you start to see this more boxy shape. You start to see a porch on the front that pulls across the front, a hip roof, which is shown in our house as well. And later, towards the end of this period, we start to get these mail order homes that since this style was timeless and it wasn't over ornate, it was more of an affordable style of architecture that, I mean, we tend to keep. So, which was a nice thing. So this is the existing residence. You can see on the top left is when you come in, it's the southwest corner. The middle one on the left is the southeast. So those are the street views. And then the one on the bottom left is from the rear, from the pool side. And then the images on the left that are labeled were in your package, so they just show all the elevations. So this is a site. So the areas in gray are the existing. The one towards the bottom, the larger one, is that existing 2-story structure where we're adding on that addition to the bottom right. It's a 480 square foot addition. And then up in the top left is a guest house, existing guest house. This is currently under renovation. So these are in progress photos. But the client is spending a lot of time and a lot of costs to make sure we keep some of the historic aspects. So the wood shingles, the wood siding, and they've found things like Dade County pine inside, and it's coming along, and it's a nice addition. So going back to existing and proposed, a comparison between what is there now versus what we are proposing with the addition on the right. As an enlarged view, so all in all, we are doing the addition 458 square feet concrete block with wood trusses and shingle roof. The shingle roof matches the existing. The siding for the addition is going to be a smooth white hardy. The existing residence is currently a metal siding, which we are proposing to replace it with a painted wood, white wood siding. So that'll bring back to the architectural, the historic characteristic of the home. So to get rid of that metal siding. The windows and doors we are proposing to replace, and we'll go through that to a bit more detail further in the presentation. This is an enlargement of the addition, so it's basically a master suite, bathroom, bedroom, and closet. The clouding is just an update that's been revised since your submittal. I know it doesn't affect your approval, but it's just a slight modification with the washer dryer. This is a comparison on the second floor. So pretty much the same. The only difference is the roof line for that addition. There is existing windows on the second floor that are currently impact. We are proposing to add an additional window, which will be in the bottom left corner, which will show you an elevation. And then the roof, again, the additional roof line, the roof stays the same. We're matching the style. There are windows in the roof up in the top left corner, which we are going to replace. This is a schematic section, shows the existing as wood frame. We're adding a concrete block addition with wood trusses. So this is the front elevation. So the front elevation on the top is the south view from the street. So you can see that there's an existing porch on the front that's been enclosed. You've got the two-story structure, which is that typical American four-square, and then you have a later addition to the right, which is, it's an historic addition, it's one story, it's not as predominant as the main structure. And what we're doing is we're adding this one-story addition towards the front. And part of our conversations with Frederick was the location of that addition, so it wasn't as, so the predominant structure was that existing one, and it wasn't the addition. This is a side view, the east view, and what we're proposing, you can see in the bottom is just the addition. The rear view, you can see the, on the left on the bottom, the addition. And then the clouding is a modification to the French door style, which we'll talk about in a moment. And then on the west view, you can see at the top, on the second floor, there's a single window. We are adding a second window adjacent to it. So into the window types. So what we're proposing, we are not proposing any modifications on the second floor. There are existing impact windows, and you can see the documentation to the left. We are proposing this additional window on the second floor, and it's to match the existing style. On the ground level, on that porch, in our conversations with Frederick, it was meant to be an open porch, and it's enclosed now, so she recommended not putting any mullions, but keeping it fixed glass. So we have fixed glass on the front, and we have casements on the sides. That addition, that later historical addition towards the right, we do have existing windows with a diagonal pattern. In terms of the staff approval, we were told that the rear was okay. If you look down at the third row of elevations, there's an existing window that's being removed and replaced with a French door. In the top elevation, you can also see there's a window that's been removed for the addition. What we're really looking at is that one highlighted in yellow and then the bay on the side that's highlighted in yellow. And you can see that the bay is not visible from the street. So just in general, what we're proposing is a window similar to what's in front of you. It's not a flat stock mullion. It's something with more of an OG pattern to the mullion, and then the trim to match. So a white trim window is what we're proposing. And this is my client's here, Evan Spicer. He's going to speak in a moment. And this is mainly due to the security it provides with his young family and a few other reasons there. Moving along towards the rear, we have existing French doors with this diagonal pattern. You can see we're replacing one window with French doors and replacing another French door. So what we're proposing is, again, a similar French door to this window in front of you with that pattern. We have talked to Sierra Pacific. They do offer this in a diagonal pattern. And then on the addition, again, windows to match what's existing, the same types of patterns. And on the two-story main structure at the first level, we have existing windows. You can see in the top left corner, they're aluminum windows, likely replaced in the 80s or 90s. We're asking to replace those with a impact window. Same thing with the French door. And then the same thing with the windows in the roof. And then finally, we have a louvered window. It's a louver over a screen, and we want to either keep the window, the louver, and remove the screen and add an impact window. We'll either keep what's there. If we have to replace, we'll replace with the same type of wood louver. And then the doors, there's a storage door and there's a front door, and we're requesting to replace that with a just a similar solid wood door. So all in all, what we're really talking about here, we already have existing impact at the top. We're replacing aluminum windows on the ground level. We're replacing original diagonal mullion windows in a few locations on the addition. And then we are doing the addition with the new windows. And we did dig into this a little bit more, that these are adjacent properties contributing historic homes with windows that have impact windows or replaced windows, and we're asking for the same consideration here. This house in particular was the one you saw earlier, 211 Westminster. It's a couple street buildings down from our residence. And we did dig a little bit deeper into the permitting. It was replaced in 2020. November of 2020. There is conditions on here, one for that the windows be sized to the same size, the mullion pattern match, and then anything that's existing that was original be either stored or we've talked to Frederique about coordinating that with her so that they're not like damaged or anything like that. And we've started construction documents, and those are already noted, that coordination. And then finally, that's where we're at. I do want to introduce you to our client, but if you have any questions at the end or comments, please let me know. This is Evan Spicer.
Can you raise your right hand, please? You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Hey, guys.
If you could just restate your name and address for the record.
I'm sorry. My name's Evan Spicer. I'm the owner of 115 Westminster Road. I just wanted to come down and introduce myself and maybe add a face to this project that we're applying for. A little background history might be helpful. My wife and I lived in New York. We ran an art gallery down in Tribeca. My wife is an artist. We came down to New York, as a lot of people did, due to COVID. She was pregnant, and we absolutely fell in love with this house the first time we saw it. Our intent is to maintain the historic aesthetics that are currently in this house. That's the main reason we fell in love with it. That is fully our intent. As I mentioned, we have a young child at home. I travel a lot for business, and I'm kind of partially out of town. And obviously, we think that there has to be some realistic element here from a safety standpoint, specifically regarding the impact windows, whether it's weather related or security related. But we're very confident that we can maintain the historical integrity, whether it's the detailing on the windows that Polly mentioned or any of the siding. We're going to put a lot of effort into maintaining the historical nature of this house, but obviously we feel that it has to have some sort of practicality behind it from a safety standpoint. I have a 1-year-old little girl, and like I mentioned, I'm kind of in and out of town, and I just want to make sure my young family is as safe as possible. And that's kind of all I have to say today.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions of the applicant at this time?
I have a question. Oh, sorry. So I know this house very well too. It's a great street, great piece of property, and the house has a great presence on the street. I just have a question. The new addition on the southeast corner of the property, I guess I can see what you're trying to do. You're trying to kind of co-plane the existing south elevation with the new elevation of the addition. My only question and concern is that, it's so tight to that bay window. Is there any way you could push that forward just to alleviate that? I mean, you're going through it's a great window.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's got a building right smack on it,
And that's something that Mr. Spicer really likes is that window. It is a small addition for a master suite, so we did try to pull it back as much as possible. I can pull to the plan.
And that 10-foot setback is, that's the street, or, no, that's, what's your maximum setback? It's 15
10
feet?
Mhm.
10 on that side, okay, gotcha.
Because of the size of the lot.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, so it's a small, for a master suite, it's fairly small, so we did pull it down as much as we could, but there's a slight bit of breathing room. But it was really important to keep that view and to, especially in the so this room that's right adjacent to it is a family room.
Right.
And so you have your views, a small, like little intimate side yard, and then the back porch, pool area. I understand your view.
So then my other question would be, aside from the porch being set back, the main portion of the building facing the street is pretty symmetrical. But then the new addition has windows that are off-centered. I didn't know if there's a way to remedy that situation.
And it was a discussion we had. We did talk about it in terms of landscape, in terms of vertical elements in that area. That was something we were talking about. Sure.
Yes, you're allowed to speak.
Come up here.
Yeah, just come up to the mic, please.
Rules of engagement.
So just in regards to the bay window, so from the living room, from the interior, the bay window is completely left alone. It might be hard to see it on the renderings, but basically the master bedroom is kind of set forward. So if you're sitting, and this was actually something that we went through pretty extensively, if you're sitting in that living room area
Right.
and you're looking out that bay window, there's zero visual impact from the master bedroom that's being built. So it's maintained, there's no kind of overlapping. That to us, and I'm glad you brought that up, that kind of makes that whole side of the house.
Right.
So we're trying to maintain that to the best of our ability.
Okay.
It should be completely clear. Yeah, thanks.
You covered a lot of ground in describing the windows and so forth. So, just excuse me if we can just ask: is your bottom line is that you don't agree with our conditions of approval?
So there were two reasons we were in front of the board today. First reason was we're over 10% of the existing structure at 450 square feet. So that was one of the reasons we had to present. The second reason we had to present was that front window, that front single hung window with the diagonal pattern, and the bay on the side in our discussions, that's part of why we needed to present, was those two specific windows. And we did suggest perhaps going to a window like this that wasn't, because a lot of, like the window that you see that's existing, that's impact, has more of a flat stock mullion. And we researched to find something that was more of a consistent with the historic side of it, while still having the security and safety factors. So those are the two main reasons, was those two specific windows and that 10%. And I'm sure Frederique will, if there's anything else, she'll explain that.
But otherwise, those windows are in good shape, considering their age. They're sound.
Yeah, and we're also not, we don't want to destroy them. We want to make sure that they're preserved and stored off-site. And we've talked to her about that as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And we have the staff report.
Frederic Mittner, presenting case 21-84. It's an ad valorem pre-construction application for an addition on alterations at 115 Westminster Road. As you can see, it's a large property on the north side of the street, contributing to the Prospect Park / Southland Park Historic District. I appreciate the applicant pointing out that we do have a discrepancy in terms of year built, but we feel confident that it was 1921 by V.S. Hall, and it really is this very special property. The applicant has actually been working with staff already on some rehab on the rear structure and is kind of bringing that back to life. And as you heard, and this is the existing site, you can actually see some of the work on the accessory structure. And most of the site, including the east portion where the addition is proposed, is not visible from the street. I know we don't take landscape into consideration, but it is fully screened with a hedge, and the primary entrance is to the west of it. So that's really the focus. Some additional kind of close-up photos provided by the applicant, since we weren't able to get on site or see anything from the public right-of-way, and the area specifically for the addition to the primary structure and the window modifications that have been discussed. And in meetings with the applicant, and especially the previous fenestration policy that the board has endorsed, we were concerned about these diamond patterned windows. We thought those were very special and unique, even though there's already an eclectic mix of both styles and materials, including impact products on the main American Foursquare. We were supportive of the change because this is already an enclosed porch for these fixed windows, so it still reads like an open porch, which is similar to what happened down the street. So again, the floor plan that's proposed, they are required to have that 10-foot setback. We do like that it just kind of kisses the original house here in the corner. It's maintains or is actually even a tiny bit back of the primary structures, or original structure's facade. It is relatively small for a lot of the size and easily meets the lot coverage. So really the windows that again are in question are the diamond pattern here and in the bay window. And you can see the addition on the east there. So again, that ties in nicely with the roof lines. We also appreciate the applicant's mitigation measures on the primary structure, removing the metal siding and restoring the wood. The reason we're supportive of the hardy board is it does differentiate it as an addition. They are proposing smooth. That's consistent with our design guidelines. Some additional elevations. And so we did review the code and Secretary Interior Standards 9 and 10 and took the board's fenestration policy into consideration. And we were recommending approval with the condition that the bay window be retained and this one street facing. But since the publication of the packet and the presentation this evening, I actually would like to amend staff's recommendation and actually be supportive because they have demonstrated a good product. It is only one street-facing window. That's this diamond pattern. This bay window is now obstructed by the new addition. So in light of the fact that there is such a mix already of impact windows, I'm recommending straight approval. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions of staff? It does not look like we have any public comment, but did you receive any, Ms. White? No? Okay. All right. We will go into executive session.
Yeah, as long as staff agrees to what they're proposing, which it seems to be, then I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I agree with Mr. Williams' comments also. However, you know, since the bay window is not going to be visible from the street anyway, I guess that the owner's preference, you know, to look. I mean, I would like to see that addition moving a little closer to the street. I think that pinching into the bay window is a mistake, but it's up to the applicant because it's not really visible from the street.
I agree.
And regarding the window, is kind of a shame, but I understand the safety concerns.
I just wanted to say, I think, just wanted to impress on the applicant that we come across this situation all the time where we wind up losing original material for one reason or another. That's why, we're having this discussion and we're very concerned about that. It might seem like a small deal to you, but it's a big deal for us.
I probably have a question for staff if the ad valorem pre-construction still applies, if the board approves the replacement of that bay window.
That would be completely your decision. However, in the past, we have approved ad valorems, even with replacement windows.
Thank you.
Another option obviously would be just to put a fixed impact window over it, but I don't know if they have the depth of that for that. And again, they've offered to donate the windows, but perhaps they can be used on site as an artistic piece. Those could be options that can be explored.
Thank you.
I have one more question. What's the room? There's 3 AC condensers in a small little room behind it. Is that AC as well in the interior of the house?
Are these
Or a closet?
Are these AC units?
This is a closet and then a bathroom.
Okay.
On the back, it's a bathroom. Did you want to speak on them?
Just trying to get some symmetry
And
back
then,
in
yes,
there
these are 3 AC units. I think, Mr. Williams, you're referring to between the
Yes.
addition. Yep, those are 3 AC units.
And behind it is a closet, I'd imagine, right? Okay.
Yeah. I fully understand what everyone's saying. I don't take the original materials lightly. I understand how important they are. I just want to be really, really clear. The integrity of the bay window will not be compromised. That's very clearly, excuse me, one of the architectural features on the house. Again, I don't know if you can see it in the rendering that's on there, but it's kind of pushed, the bedroom's being pushed further south, and the bay window is almost like a one-sided hexagon shape, where the 2 sides are kind of placed on a diagonal, and because of the angle, there won't be any interruption from the new addition. And that's something that we're going out of our way, in addition to the diagonal patterns on the windows. We think the room's beautiful with those features, and that's why we want to keep the historical element of it and replicate the look of it, but just simply with a safer impact window. So I just want to kind of reiterate that. And I don't take it lightly. I understand how important it is. Yeah. Thank you.
Would you like to make a motion?
Yeah, I move that the Historic Preservation Board approve application number 21-84 for ad valorem pre-construction additions and alterations in accordance with standards 9 and 10 as set forth in section 94-49 of the City Zoning and Land Development Regulations. The motion is based on the testimony presented along with the application submitted and the staff report, which constitute competent substantial evidence.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Congratulations, the motion has passed.
Tree fort staying? Is the tree fort staying?
It is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. There's no way we would take that down. But, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move the board to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
That's the shortest meeting I've been to.